Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. We're going to talk Browns and NFL football. We're going to talk Cavs and NBA basketball. We'll talk Ohio State Buckeyes football. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. What player was known as the Clown Prince of the Harlem Globetrotters? I will have the answer later on the podcast. After an unacceptable 24-19 loss to the Denver Broncos in Denver last week, the Browns are looking to snap a four-game losing streak as they get ready to take on the Buffalo Bills at home at First Energy Stadium on Sunday. And I feel this game is an ever-so-ever must win for the Browns this week. Now, we've had... excuse me. We've had high hopes for this team ever since the preseason, and a lot of those guys, I feel, and the media feels, has not lived up to their end of the deal. And Baker Mayfield is just so frustrated, and we feel he's not the Baker Mayfield that we know from last year, and he's not playing like he was from last year. But I think he really wants to win, and he wants to get the ball to really connect with Odell Beckham Jr. a lot more. And Kitchens is feeling the pressure, and I don't think they should fire Freddie Kitchens, but they need a coach that's going to discipline him. They need discipline. They need to play with efficiency and discipline. They need a coach that's going to give them that. And I just feel that it might not be a good idea to fire Freddie Kitchens. We'll have to see if the Browns can win out these last 8 games, which they need to do. Kareem Hunt will be back from his suspension this week for this Sunday's game against the Bills. It's been great that Hunt has been able to practice with the team the past 2 weeks, and from a standpoint, he's feeling pretty confident, and he knows what it takes to play football. It's to make play after play after play, and not go off the field every time. And he wants this team to start winning games because he has not liked what he's seen, and he knows this team is frustrated. And and he's just hopefully going to have a great game with the Browns this Sunday. Now, Kitchens has stressed that Mayfield's number one job is to protect the ball, and that is very vital right there. And the number 2 job is to play fearlessly because you're never going to make the plays until you do, he said. He does a good job of putting things behind him and moving forward. All the interceptions, though, are not on him. And I don't think he bats an eye. He's not thinking about the last throw at the end of the game, before the end of the game. Now, I feel Mayfield needs to play with discipline, and he needs to not take so long throwing the ball off of his left foot. But he needs to really connect with Beckham and make the passes, because there's been trade rumors that Odell Beckham could be traded at the end of the 2020 season, but I don't think that's going to happen. We can't afford to lose him. Now, and the only way that Odell Beckham Jr. will stay is if the Browns win games, and Beckham wants this team to start winning games, and that's what we need to do. And that's why I feel this game against the Bills is a must win for the Browns. And because we've got a nationally televised game coming up, Thursday Night Football, this next week on Thursday, November 14th, against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8:20. Now, that's also going to be a must-win for the Browns as well. And they're really going to have to really step it up because they are not going to want to lose a primetime game. Because they lost the last one, the last 2 against the Rams and the Patriots. They're not going to want to do that again. So, hopefully we'll see what happens when the Browns play the Bills this week. And kickoff is at 1 o'clock on CBS 19. Moving on to the Cavs. After a 6-point 119 to 113 loss to the Boston Celtics last night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse at home. The Cavs will be back in action on Friday as they look to snap their three-game losing streak as they take on the Washington Wizards at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Head coach John Beilein says this team is doing everything to keep the game tight and but he says this team does want to get over the hurdle to win games, and he's trying to swat the rumors of a Kevin Love trade. So I don't think we should trade him right now because he wants to be here because he knows it's a rebuilding year and he wants to help the Cavs in the rebuilding process. So we'll see what happens. And the tip-off, is at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Ohio and ESPN. Moving on to the Buckeyes. Your undefeated 8-0 Ohio State Buckeyes will look to go to 9-0 and remain undefeated as they will take on the Maryland Terrapins at Ohio Stadium in Columbus. Ohio State is 42-point favorites to win on Saturday, and head coach Ryan Day says we are coming off our second bye week, and this team is rolling and it really looks to stay sharp. And the Buckeyes defense, expect them to have a strong game, and led by defensive end Chase Young is really going to be dominant, I feel, by far. And Maryland has really not stepped its game up. They have not really played well this year, and like they did last year, and they were able to beat Ohio State. But to have their way with Ohio State, but I don't think Maryland's not going to have their way with Ohio State this time out. And I feel that Ohio State will have its way with Maryland, and the media feels that way too. And I am going to say, because the media is saying 56-0, I am going to say I'm going to go with that same score, 56-0. But I just feel now Ohio rank is first in the Big Ten now. They're ranking first. And I just feel Ohio State is going to remain undefeated by far and have their way with Maryland. And kickoff is at 12 noon on Fox. I will talk more about the Browns in just a moment and give my final thoughts. But first, it's now time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. What player was known as the Clown Prince of the Harlem Globetrotters? And if you said Meadowlark Lemon, you are correct. For 22 years, Meadowlark Lemon was known as the Clown Prince of the Harlem Globetrotters. He played in more than 16,000 games for the Globetrotters and was a 2003 inductee into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. When basketball legend Wilt Chamberlain was asked his opinion on the best player of all time, he responded, "For me, it would be Meadowlark Lemon." And I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, which will be tomorrow on my Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football pregame show. So stay tuned for that. And speaking of that, tomorrow's Thursday Night Football game will be the LA Chargers taking on the Oakland Raiders at Oakland Company Coliseum in Oakland. And I will get my Thursday Night Football pick tomorrow night. And I feel it's going to be a good game between the Oakland Raiders and the LA Chargers. And LA is favored by 3 points, even though Oakland's the underdog, even though they're playing at home. So I will have the pick, and I will get my thoughts. I'll break it down and who I feel is the edge and who I picked to win that game tomorrow night, and have the post-game show once the the Chargers-Raiders game is concluded. Now, getting back to this Sunday's Browns game and talking about the Browns, this team has not lived up to the expectations that we had set for them back in the preseason, and we have a record of 2-6, but we need to start winning games, and I think win out these last 8 games to have a chance to make the playoffs. Now, if things can change, if they can do it, Freddie Kitchens could retain his job, but if they don't, and they continue to play the way they are, Kitchens could be fired at the end of the season. But I don't think they should fire Freddie Kitchens because, well, I think Mayfield and Kitchens are buds, but they need a coach that give them discipline. But it may not be a good idea to fire Freddie Kitchens. But we'll have to wait and see what happens for the rest of the season. And so I just feel, but the Browns are 3-point favorites to win this game on Sunday. So we will see what happens. And so, well, that's just about going to wrap it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. I'll be back with my Thursday Night Football pregame show before the LA Chargers and Oakland Raiders game tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.